Hey, welcome everybody to Coaching Call 287. Just getting shy of 300. Hope everyone had a great 3-day weekend, or at least a great Valentine's Day. And I was a little down with my cold, so I think I carried over what you had, Adrian, but I'm coming out all right.
Oh man, I'll make sure not to breathe right into the mic.
Thanks, man.
Oh
All right.
man, no, it's been terrible. So my girl had my baby girl, my daughter. She was so she's fine. Finally went back to school today. But my middle child, he got a Sunday night, so he's home, and man, it's just been crazy.
All right. Well, hope everyone who's listening, if you are have people battling something, it goes smooth for them. But it's that time of year. Anyways, today we're diving into the when and how to best use landing pages. A lot of different scenarios. We're going to bring some clarity on which type of landing pages. There's two different types that get come up, and how to use them in your best case strategy
Yeah.
wise, and also some things that are already built in the carrot on how to leverage that if you aren't already. So it'll be a fun one of exploring to do a few different things. Um, if this is your first coaching call, welcome. You want to be using the chat in the chat bubble in the bottom right corner. That will be directed towards Adrian and myself, and that goes to us to confirm any questions, or as we dive into certain concepts, you can use the letter B as a thumbs up of it's making sense, you like it, or letter P if we went in the deep end and it's not making sense, and we can reround and revisit the concept. And as always, for anything that's technical related, Carrot support will be a great insight for that. So if you have broken links or images aren't loading correctly, Carrot support is ideally more to dial in on that. But that's not to say we can't also be here if given case. So to test out the chat bubble, go ahead and chime in. What helps you win the morning? And this question will be your ticket. If you share something, this will be your ticket to win a Carrot shirt, a raffle midway through the coaching call. But go ahead and chime in the using the chat bubble in the corner. Go ahead and click on that and let us know what helps you win the morning. For me, lately, it's been doing some neti pot to kind of clear out, getting the junk out of my nose from the cold I'm suffering. But otherwise, I like to do some just simple stretching and make sure I have start the morning with some water. Those are my good wins that help me get the morning going. All right. Oh, we got a good crew in this morning. Uh, Cristobal, hello. Someone read off some of these. Cameron, welcome back. Awesome that you're here. Terry, caffeine. I'm wondering if that's going to be the winner for most of this morning. Caffeine, coffee, says John Jones. Let's see.
John, John Jones out of Louisville.
Oh, no, awesome. Let's see here. Warren, timing in with early morning meditation. Awesome. And I'm curious, Warren, is that like a written meditation? Do you do a guided one? A little curious about that. There's a lot of different types of people have been diving into apps. Todd Smith as well. Morning meditation. You can hear us loud and clear. Thank you. Crystal Bale. Early morning. Have 2 hours to myself. Walk the dogs and then read. Ooh, I like that one. Walking the dogs. Good way to get out and about. Jess chiming in with family and sunlight. Sunlight is key. Get that vitamin D for sure. Brad, he's up before anyone else, then coffee. So caffeine and coffee. That's a good morning ritual, though. Kind of gets you into that warmth. I like that. I'm a big fan of that. David, start every morning by reading God's word, and that sets my attitude and fortitude for the day. Yeah, that's pretty in tune with Trevor. He's a big morning reader, especially diving in the Bible. It's not an uncommon one. Awesome. Mark, I wish I would have pulled this one. A short walk with the dog. See if the dog walk or the coffee and caffeine would be the winners.
I actually did that this morning. Was
Yeah.
after I dropped off because my wife had to stay with the kids. With my son, so I took the kids to school, which has been cool. I love doing that. As soon as I got back, felt good. So I just ended up taking the dog for a walk. It's been a while since I did that. Yeah, so it definitely sets the tone. So I'm with you there, walking the dog.
Nicholas, in the right hand corner. Yep, that's right. When in the morning, it's here. Cameron, he's got his details here. Okay, he has a few 3-step process. Setting a goal for waking up on time. That's a good one. Number one, achieve 3 simple things in the morning to start off winning. Yeah. Number 2, number 3 is making your own damn bed. I've heard that one a lot. Making your bed is the small win to get good momentum. I'm a fan of that one. Awesome. I'll just get a few more, see if there's any good themes. Walk with the dogs. Julie, you're sick too. Coffee. Thanks. Sympathy. Thank you. 5 a.m. Start with coffee. This is Brooks. Start a coffee, glass of water, read for 20 to 30 minutes, then cardio. Okay, active morning. It used to be a strong routine for me. And Nicholas, getting his daughter off to school. Awesome. This is sweet. Thanks, guys, for sharing. I'll be piping these in for the raffle drawing. And if you're just catching on, what helps you in the morning? This is to enter your ticket for the raffle, the spin the wheel that we'll be doing towards the end of the call. And one more, Daniel Coleman, exercise, increased heart rate. Yep, I'm a big fan of that one. All right, so let's dive into the topic of the landing pages. It's kind of situated in all the different types here. So first and foremost, what is a landing page? Simply put, a landing page is a standalone web page created specifically for the purpose of marketing or advertising. So it kind of falls in those categories of the funnel approach. It's where a visitor lands, and when they have clicked on Google AdWords or something from Facebook or whatever it may be, but there's some kind of hook that's gotten them, and they're getting funneled into further down. And we'll dive into our first example of this, and then the contrast of this. But a city landing page is a pretty common one. This is probably what you hear most of, especially if you've gone through phase 1 of the Carrot Guide. If you haven't, there's a link below. But it's going to be similar to the homepage. City landing pages are specific, and we use the nifty shortcodes to save time to really dial in the quick creation process. And common things to update are the hero or the hero image. So if I have a page that's talking about Los Angeles, and I have a picture of the Coliseum, Los Angeles landmark, then that makes sense. And I make a city landing page for San Francisco, and I use a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge. That's anchoring already mentally. This page is built for the Bay Area. So those little things go a long way in the landing page elements. And well, first let's just check real quick. A thumbs up if city landing pages make sense, if you're using them, or that dials in of what the essence of what city landing pages are. I want to make sure those clear are. And Brad, I see your question here. We'll save that for live Q&A. We can dive into that. Awesome. But yeah, city landing page elements, if those make sense, that's a good foundation of a common landing page you guys probably want to be using, or something of that nature. So let us thumbs up if those make sense, if you guys are using those or have. Or okay, plenty of B's across the board. And Jess, you have yet to build them, but need to. Great, we can send you some links on that in a moment. So I won't dive too much in the example, but I wanted to compare this to Adrian. You wanted to dive into their city landing pages, which I think a lot of people seem to have a good grasp on. And then squeeze pages, or other ways that landing pages are used in terms of the funnel, or what do you notice the different cases, and where? Let's dive into that.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure those of you that have been on these calls often, we always take in consideration, the psychology of where are you marketing, how are you educating on that platform, and then where are you sending them, right? So I know with SEO, I love sending them to obviously the homepage or a city-specific page, because a page usually provides a lot of information. It provides a lot of guidance. It's more of a sales page, where all your informational page is going to be more on the blog post, more of the blog post. So squeeze page. Let me see here. Let me share my screen. Hopefully I can do that. Let me see which website I still have some squeeze. All right, I'm going to show you guys some stuff here.
And a squeeze page typically has less elements
Right.
to pop out of, because it's usually the menu bar's gone. This is what you see is what you get.
Right. All right. All right. Let's see. All right. Here we go. All right. Can you guys see my pages, or can you see my website?
It's up. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So let me kind of just really show you guys real quick, just so there's no misunderstanding. We're all on the same page. Oops. Why am I getting? There we go. So the structure of a website, guys, is you know, and I'm going to get really technical. So when we talk about landing page, so landing pages is more of a destination, right? So landing page could be a squeeze page, it could be your home page, it could be your contact us page. It's where someone is being directed to from a marketing piece, right? It could be a direct mail piece. It could be Google AdWords. You could, you might be putting something on your direct mail. Let's say you have a billboard and you're putting stuff up. And so landing page is just where someone's being sent. Okay, so now let's talk about the actual attribute of a page, the technical term of a page and a squeeze page. A page. If you guys look at your Carrot site, your home page is a page, right? If you go into the get a cash offer, that's a page. You know, if you go into the testimonial, that's a page, right? These are all different. You know, and when Google looks at your site, it's not like they look at your entire site like this. You know, they are only able to look at your pages individually, right? So it's kind of like a filing cabinet, right? Your website's a filing cabinet, and now you have folders. You got the sell your home folder, you got your get a cash offer folder. So you know, each one are different components, but under the same site. So typically, again, how you use a page really depends on like what is your objective, right? So me personally, you know, pages is probably what you're going to be working with if you're trying to rank well in Google, because a page usually structured to where there's plenty of content that's going to meet the criteria of informing, but also enough content that Google finds favorable because they like content. So you can't, you know, and plus also when you send someone to a page, you're also giving them the freedom of being able to navigate, right? If someone wants to go from a home page to questions, they can go there. If someone wants to go to the testimonial page, they can go there. I mean, people just have the freedom to kind of navigate where they need to be. So pages is usually the structure of their overall site. Now, as far as what we're talking about, when we talk about squeeze pages, right? So let me just bring up, all right, let's bring up this one here. So this is a squeeze page here. So if you guys see the big difference here, is a squeeze page, they got nowhere else to go, okay? They have nowhere to go. That's why they call it a squeeze page, because you're trying to squeeze them to give you their information. So they can't navigate anywhere. I mean, you can even hide these if you wanted to, but you see here, they can't navigate. The idea is to keep someone here and they don't get distracted, okay? So that's usually the best practice of quote unquote a squeeze page. But with the Carrot site, they're going to always be under landing pages. Okay, landing pages is you know, we use the term landing pages versus using the term squeeze pages, but those are the same thing. All right. So, and what we do. So now, so the purpose of this call is, all right, so what's best practice to send someone to your home page? What's best practice of using a squeeze page? I always kind of look at the psychology of where someone is coming from. Okay. So here's a good example. Like if I were me personally, so if I'm doing Google AdWords, me personally, I love sending them to a home page, to the home page or a city specific page, right? So if I was targeting, let's say, I'm just making this up. So let's say Wilmington, North Carolina, with this site. The site is targeting it different. So I would send them directly to this page for Wilmington, right? Because so what's better? Why would I choose a city specific page or the home page versus a squeeze page? Okay, so again, looking at the psychology of who you're sending there. One of the things that I always share is that, you know, most people are not going to always be in tune with what we do as investors, right? So, people are not, something that we talk about here at Carrot is, we're not always, we're not a mainstream service, so less people are likely to know about us. And what happens too is that we begin to, when someone is offered something that they feel like, wow, this is way too easy, this sounds too good to be true, it's just a scam. Typically, people want information to validate that this is legit. So to me is that the reason why I send someone on, because remember, one thing that I always say that we like to say here at Carrot is that look at the attribute of where someone's coming from. They usually have certain attributes. So for an example, someone who tends to turn to Google, there's usually two things. They're either they're looking to buy something now, or they're looking for information. Okay. So when someone's looking for information, you can't withhold information from them. Okay. So that's what I mean by a squeeze page. So this is as good as it gets. Okay. So now some people may instantly get what we're doing, so this explains very well what we do. But the problem with the squeeze page is it just doesn't answer like, this is legit, this is real, right? That's why by sending someone here, not only are they getting the information, which again tells them what we do, how we do it, but by sending them to a city page, which has this option for them to navigate, now they can go to the testimonials. Now they can go to the FAQ. Now they can go to the how it works. And the more they navigate, I feel the more trust is being built, the more confidence that they have, that we're helping them overcome these initial objections. Okay, which this one is very hard to do because all it's doing is, hey, listen, it's kind of like a postcard, right? A postcard is to the point. We tell what we do. We offer some benefits, we explain the features, but we don't really go into the depth of what the benefits are or how does this whole thing work. So when you withhold information with people, it's very easy to lose them. Still skeptical, right? So now, where would a squeeze page make sense? I think if so let's say that, let's say you did a radio ad. You did a 2-minute radio ad, and the radio ad really expounds into how it works really well. Now you're just sending them to a squeeze page to gather their information. You're not really relying on this page to educate them because your initial marketing piece, your initial marketing channel, now you're just saying either fill out a form or give us a call. So now it makes sense to send them a squeeze page or landing page. But if you're sending them from a channel that there's very little information provided to them, then I would send them to a page or a city specific page, or and the page doesn't even have to be city specific. You guys could generic page on your homepage. Doesn't have, could be general. Like, let me see. I think I have one that's, so if you guys are sending out a lot of direct mail, let's say all over the place, and then you can send them to a homepage that's just general, right? It's not really city specific. It just kind of tells overall what we do, so very simple, right? So hopefully, does that help, guys? Does that kind of, let me stop sharing. So does that help in terms of understanding best practice So to me, I always look at who's your customer and where's your customer coming from. And based on where they're coming from, are they already informed with information? Now you're just trying to capture their information, or is where where they're coming from, they've already been provided little or no information. Now you got to educate them not only on how it works, what we do, but also some backup that we're legit, that we're going to follow through. This is a real service. We're not scams, right? We're not a scam, right? So that's the best way to look at it, guys, is best practice is where they're coming from. And so from someone like me, I do nothing but online marketing. So people they're full. My website's going to be their first real initial contact to learn how this whole thing works. So that's why I rather send them to my site, where they can navigate anywhere, that they can learn. I don't care if they go here, they go here, they go here. I'm not going to keep them stuck just on that one page and hope that they fill it out. Okay. Does that make sense, guys? It's very psychology. So me personally, like I said, I honestly, there's very few times that I've used a squeeze page, just because I do everything SEO and I do everything PPC. So I've never really had to use, but I know many of you, we have a lot of members that are using the Carrot sites and, mixed in with their other marketing. So it may make sense to send them to a squeeze page. Okay. So, or here's an idea too. Let's say you guys let's say that you're educating them well on a letter. You guys are sending out letters. So instead of putting this long URL on your letters, if they want to learn more, go out and create a very short domain. That domain could be 123.com. Okay. Make it very short and put that on your postcard, because remember, you want to make it very easy for them. Oh, I thought I was showing my page, but that's okay. What you could be doing is create a squeeze page or landing page, and then create a very short URL, because remember, these guys, they're forced to pick up their phone, right? So you want to make it very easy for them to be able to type in your domain, because if you provide something very long, like buymyhousecompany.com/we dash buy tag, that doesn't provide a good user experience. So if you guys want to put a domain on a printed marketing material, whatever, I would say get a very short domain, and then just have that short domain redirect over to your landing page or squeeze page, if you want to call it that. So that's a little hack too, because I do that with I use Deal Machine for our Driving for Dollars, and I don't put my actual website address because my domain it's not as crazy long, but I just want to make it super easy for someone to type it in on their phone or on their computer, whichever. So I just use a very short domain, and then it just simply redirects to my other domain or my other website or the website. So hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that makes sense. So let me know, guys. Let's get some feedback. Let me know that was helpful. The difference between a city specific or a page versus a landing page, or if you want to call it squeeze page, and how you would determine which one is best. Would love your feedback.
Yeah, we've got a few questions already popped in. A clarity question. I think this is from Julie. She thought she was supposed to do the cities we cover under location pages, not landing pages. Did she screw up? I think she's referencing to the location area pages under the pages post on the content section.
Is that an agent site?
I think it's available on both.
I think I know on the agents. Okay.
Yeah, from my understanding.
That's a. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking we're both going the same direction of an interesting call or tough call. I just know the city landing pages approach, like you just showed, Adrian, that seems to be a little bit quicker. I do know there are some advantages of building a strategy behind the location pages of how the flow is and how to click things. So I don't think you're screwed, Julie, but you can build a little strategy, and we can go a little more specifically if you want to dive in a little bit more one-on-one style of how to use the location pages. But I think for quick time and just being able to add something real quick, the city landing pages approach is common one, and then on top of that or within that strategy, location pages can be helpful.
Right. And yeah, that's the thing, guys, is, I mean, that's why we do these calls, or that's why we have support. So if you guys need clarification, I mean, there's really no right or wrong. There's always just best practices, right? So that's why don't overthink it, don't overcomplicate it. And if you guys have questions before you dive into anything, just reach out to support, right? To me, that's working smart. And I'm not saying you didn't work smart in this situation. I mean, I love it. You took action. You created the land, or you created under the location pages. But each of it has its own pros and cons. I just think pages is the best one to leverage, because I like how the pages have. I think let me look at the anatomy of a property. Is it it's under locations, right?
I believe so. And Julie did confirm she is an agent. So you're in the right place. If you're using location pages, you're right where you need to be, Julie, in terms of the strategy that we recommend using location specific pages.
Yeah, because location, I mean, obviously has a map built in, so it would make more sense for you as an agent to use a location. So you guys on the investing side, and I apologize, sometimes my mind naturally goes to the investing side. So thanks for kind of keeping us in check. But yeah, if you're an agent, landing pages could be beneficial, because remember, you're looking, that industry, it makes sense to use the location because there's that built-in map in there, to where it probably wouldn't make as much sense with motivated sellers, because you don't need to show them where their map is, right? Because they're trying to, they're trying to get rid of a property. So there's no need to education to that aspect. So it just makes sense. So guys, so if you guys need more clarity, whether you're an investor or an agent, we're always more than provide that one-on-one help too. So make sure you guys are leveraging that.
Just as a quick reference, since you mentioned the landing page anatomy, we did have this, which is more of a common guide of what to expect. And I see your other questions. We'll dive into those in a moment. The common landing page of anatomy would be, you have some kind of offer or value. This is that kind of hook of where someone came from, whether it's Facebook or why they clicked on it. And then you always want to have something to capture an individual's info, so their name, email, and then that call to action: download now, click here to receive, or let's consultation, schedule now, whatever it is. So at the very least, the three elements: what's the value, where are you capturing their info, and the call to action are the common elements of what you want to look for, at least when creating landing pages, which some of that's already built into Carrot.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. We covered this a little bit, but maybe just quick confirm. When would you suggest using a squeeze page, and maybe the advantages of that? But we did dive into that.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we just dove right in. That's where you guys have to grow as marketers, right? That's why we're really big on becoming a marketer versus being an advertiser. Because when you're a marketer, you look at things you look at things backwards. You're right. Okay, who's my customer? Where's my customer hanging out? How much do they know about what we do? So obviously, when someone's just coming into what we do really ignorance, I probably wouldn't use a landing page, because there's very little bit of information, right? So you just have to trust your gut on that. But so that's why I'm saying you want to force yourself to really think what makes sense. Okay. Every market's different. Everyone's doing marketing different. So I would say learn how to distinguish which one is best for you. And the best way to do that is just think backwards, right? Like I told you as an example, someone who turns to Google, they're looking for information first. They're not going to go to our website knowing that they're going to fill out a form. They're not going there with the thought that they're going to give us a call. And some of them may, right? But for the most part, they want more information. That's why we emphasize a lot on testimonial, the company page. This proves that notion too, is that the second most visited page when someone lands on a Carrot site, or really most sites, is the company page, right? Because they want to know who they're dealing with. Okay, so there's that psychology behind what their expectation is, right? So when you send them to a squeeze page, they don't have that option to know who they're dealing with. So when someone else wants to know who they're dealing with and you restrict them information, it's going to be very hard to convert them, right? Because they're still left in the dark, right? So that's what I'm saying. If you guys send a letter to a customer and that letter really breaks down everything very well, then there's no need to really educate them even more. But if you want to leverage a website to where they can fill out their form versus calling, then I would send them to a squeeze page. Or, if you feel like, hey, there might be value, so you educated them, let's say on a letter, then you just feel like in your gut, hey, maybe by offering a free guide in that letter makes sense, then you would send them to the squeeze page right there that offers that letter. Right. So again, you always want to be thinking, right? You always want to be thinking, does this make sense? Does this make sense? Does this make sense? And you guys, you have to work that. You need to work your brain to develop that muscle. Right. So that's one of the things that I don't know if you guys have been catching the Carrot Cast, where I've been doing, I started this series about 3-4 weeks ago, newbie mistakes to avoid. And one of the things I talk about is knowing your market. When you know your market, you know the people. When you know the people, you know where you should be marketing. As you know where you're marketing, now you know what message you should have. Once you have your messaging, you know where you should be sending them, right? So you're working backwards. And when you do that exercise, man, that's where you begin to have a competitive edge, because you're intentional with your marketing, right? I love having you guys on these calls, but I would hate to just be telling you guys what to do every week, because that might not work, because that might not work specifically in your market. Like the example I give all the time is kind of silly, is, if nobody ever dies in your market, it would not make sense to be sending people probate information, right? Because it just wouldn't make sense, right? So, or if no foreclosure ever happens in your market, it'd probably be a waste of time to be producing pre-foreclosure content or any type of foreclosure content. So, I think that's where, unfortunately, as investors, sometimes we do that. We're told, here at Carrot, we preach create content. So it's easy just to kind of throw a bunch of content because for the sake of having content. But what I'm saying is, yes, create content, but also do it with intention, right? And the only way you guys are going to really know for sure the sure answers is by really giving thought to what you should be doing. And again, that's the difference between being a marketer and being an advertiser. Advertiser, they just throwing a bunch of stuff out there and see what works. That can work. That's better than nothing. But a marketer is very intentional in first understanding their customer. And then once they do that, then it makes sense what you should be sending them or where you should be sending them. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. And Jess, you just gave me a letter B, which I was going to queue up your next question, but I think we just went over it, which is if you're using direct mail, would it be better to use a city landing page or a squeeze page? And it's just kind of understanding where you're kind of directing people, which kind of just dove into that. So hopefully that cleared up that question. That was a 2-for-1 right there.
Yeah. And also here's the thing too, guys. Sometimes you just test it, right? It depends on who you're targeting. Again, it goes back to that. Like if I was targeting pre-foreclosure, I probably do a good job of creating really strong urgency on the postcard or the letter, but then offer them a foreclosure guide that would be in the form of a squeeze page, right? Because so to me that makes sense, because there's no need to tell someone, hey, you're behind. They know they're behind, right? No need to drum down their throat, hey, you need to sell fast. They know they need to sell fast. So in a case like that, it probably makes sense. Just get to the point, offer them something that might be of value. That's where a squeeze page would make sense. right? You see how the thought process is, guys, is you got to really do that. Okay. So again, I love giving you guys direction, but please don't depend on other people or even us to tell you what to do. All what we, Joaquin, want to do is just kind of give you guys some good insight, best practices, and then have you guys take it and then force yourself to really work that muscle on what's going to work best for you. And sometimes it's testing both of them, right? That's what a marketer does. They test. And sometimes your true and absolute answers is going to come through testing. Like, I don't know if John is still on this call, John Jones. We tested I was working with him, and we were working on some videos. People always say, oh, videos. Like, you got to do videos, which is true, 100%. But there's a lot of dynamics that play a role. Where should I put it? What should be the video about? And John made a great video, but then it just didn't engage well for some. Could have, and there's a lot of dynamics that play a role, right? Was it because John was in a studio? Maybe because John was a man. I mean, that sounds silly, but sometimes women tend to more have a warmer. It's easier for people to approach a woman than a man, so it could have been that. So we tested different stuff. So if John had just listened to the advice, hey, you should have a video, and he put that video up, and we found out that was hurting him, not helping him, or maybe it wasn't positioned right, he would never know, right? So, but because he was intentional of testing it, then that's when we were able to find out what he should be doing. So.
Awesome. There's a clarification, and John is on the call if we want to dive into some of the stuff. Let's see here. Barry typed in a question, which is good for clarification when using a short domain. Using a short domain that redirects to a page, company page, on what challenges does it create for SEO? And it's his understanding that you can't really do SEO for a domain name that's just forwarding visitors to another site.
Yeah, so the forwarding, it has nothing to do with SEO, has nothing to do where you're going to send it. It's just the convenience of someone being able to type it in manually on their phone or on their laptop. Because remember, people now have to work now. This is work for a lot of people. Having to type in is work. I mean, we just live in a society to where some people, it's too much work to type in, so we just want to make it easy for them. So I wouldn't go into a rabbit hole or overthink it. It's just for the sake of just providing user experience. And as far as where you redirect them, that's up to you. I mean, like for my direct mail for Driving for Dollars, I'm just redirecting it to my homepage, to my regular homepage. And the only reason why, again, I'm using a different domain and forwarding it, I'm using a short one. Okay, so, but hopefully has nothing to do with SEO or nothing like that.
Right. And kind of going off from that, could you also use something like text the word offer, and that would send them to a squeeze page as well? I found that definitely true for me. This weekend, I went and got a smoothie, and it was one of those text this word to this number for an additional free smoothie. So I text it, and it sent me a link. Took me to a squeeze page that just wanted my email to know where do I send the coupon, which essentially that was the offer, a free smoothie.
Yep.
The info gathering, my email, call to action to send it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a perfect example. That's where a squeeze page totally makes sense because Joaquin is already familiar with the product. He's using it. The offer was get a free one. They probably want to put him on a mail list. So they didn't complicate it. They didn't try to re-educate Joaquin with the brand or the service because he was already using it. They're just sending him to a squeeze page that just made it easy for him. Okay, so guys, if you have to rewatch this part of the video, we're like 40 minutes in. So really listen to that. Okay, so so again, like this question, could you also use something like text or the word offer that would send us a squeeze page? That's up to you, right? Does it make, again, the one thing, this is a new vocabulary for all of you guys. Does this make sense? I'll always be asking that, right? Does this make sense? And really think about it, guys. I would love for you guys to work your marketing muscle. Okay. So just always ask yourself, does this make sense? Okay. So, so like for an example, like one of the negotiating to, they always say the 5 powerful, I don't know if it's 5, but they say, when you're negotiating, the 5 words you should always know is this the best you, well, maybe 7. All right. Is this the best you can do? Right. That's, you're kind of trained to do that. Right. So, but same thing. So when you guys are marketing, write it down, guys. If you guys are on Instagram, whatever, or, follow Carrot, getcarrot.com or Get Carrot, look us up. I would love to have you guys do a story, maybe put a post, put it on your computer, does this make sense? Okay, so that's a question you guys should be asking. And if you don't know, just test both of them, right? I mean, again, this is a business, guys. So, I mean, things are not going to become easy to where there's not really an easy answer. There's some stuff that's an easy answer, but there's some stuff you're just going to have to work your marketing muscle, or just test it. Test both of them.
Awesome. Cameron said that's great, on point. Thank you, Cameron. Glad it's landing for you. Angel quickly asked, is there a perfect that is a perfect way to interact on text? Definitely. Who is providing that service? That's when you want to search. I've seen a lot of different recommendations depending on how many texts you're trying to do, what's the code. I would search text interaction of what it is to kind of rent one of those text 445566. Those are kind of rental services through another company or something like that at different rates. But that can be set up to within your own CRM. A Carrot lead comes in, it pings something else, and then they get that text or however you want to set that up. And it just comes down to creating that marketing funnel. But yeah, I don't have any recommendations off the top of my head, unfortunately, but I've searched around for it in the past, and it's a lot of different strategies of what it is to rent one of those numbers and use that. Good question on that one if you want to dive into that. Do we have an example of a squeeze page related to probate marketing? I don't know if we have a specific example. We did do an example of a squeeze page, but for probate marketing, it would just come down to just rewriting the content so it's specific or the intention connects to that individual.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like I said, I mean, if you're a probate expert, it probably wouldn't be too hard for you just to create a squeeze page. I mean, our system, you can create a squeeze page from scratch. I mean, back to working your marketing muscle is you just have to realize, okay, what would make sense on send them to a squeeze page? Are you going to offer them something? Are you going to offer them a report? What's the purpose of that? Right. So now the easiest thing is just create a probate page, educate them, or it could be send them to a probate blog post, right? And then retarget them, right? There's so many ways to do this, right? So, but I don't know. To me, I think with motivated sellers, I always lean towards sending them to a regular page because I want them to navigate. Again, it's all psychology. I want them to navigate. I want them to see my testimonials. I want them to see who I am. I want them to see, I just want them just to walk out or walk all over the place. I'm imagining they walked into my store. I just want them to roam. The more they roam, the more they're becoming comfortable, the more they're getting an idea what we do, and the more that they see that we're legit. So I think for me, I just always lean towards send them to a city specific page or the home page.
Love it. And let's see. We'll open up for general Q&A now. But I first want to give out our prize wheel real quick, and then dive into someone who chimed in about Brad's question, but he was noted that he's number 1 on ranking, and the instructions said to reach out on Coaching Call to review the site. So I'm excited to dive into that one. We don't get too many of those on live calls, so Brad will dive into this with you. Let's give away our shirt real quick, though. Let's see here. There we go. Prize wheel. I'll full screen that. All right. Must be present to win. And it looks like Brooks or Kevin. Brooks. All right, Brooks. Awesome. Congratulations. You are our Carrot t-shirt winner. Go ahead and chime back what size shirt you are. Let me get my screen set up. Okay. Brooks, go ahead and chime back what size, orange or gray, and a physical address to send your shirt. Go ahead and chime that in, and we'll get that going, send out to you. And we'll also open up to general Q&A at this point. Oops. I get my, there it is. And then Brad situation. Let's see here, bring that back up. So, sure, rankings by checked. Okay, going back to Brad's situation, we might be diving a little diagnostic. Motivated seller. His ranking is rankings on number one, made it to number one, and the Google says instructions to mention Coaching Call. So we'll dive in. So he's not on page number one, but first let's dive into the page of that he has real quick. Adrian, is there anything you want to know or look for a high performing website to start off with, at least in Brad's situation, or if there's something specific, Brad, that we can dive in with you, let me know. First, I do want to note personalized image. Looks like some of the content, everyone's situation. Okay, so yes, change up some of the content to make it unique. Awesome. So those are all things we always recommend. Does have city landing pages. Nice work done there. He's personalized all that. And he's not getting many leads right now. Is there anything you want to dive into with this situation?
Yeah, I mean, where's he at? Athens, he said?
Yes. I can send you the link to this page real quick too. But every page has been personalized. Nice work there. Okay.
How big is Athens, or Athens, guys? Or
I'm not sure how big it is. See, he's chiming back in. Okay, great company page. He's using a lot of the core values. Well done there.
Okay, is his Sunlit Properties LLC, is that his website?
The page is sunlightproperties.co.
Okay.
I'll send that through the chat real quick.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, guys. I mean, there's two objectives that you should always have. All right, so I mean, looks like I just ran two common keywords, which is sell my house fast, and then we buy houses. So sell my house fast looks like he's on the bottom of page one, and then we buy houses. I think probably looks like it's on page two. So I mean, here's the thing, guys. To be successful with Google, the first thing you got to do is be on page one. All right. Page one is where you need to be. Then once you get to page one, you got to get the top 3 spots, right? So, and when you're in a small market, if you're in a small market, like when I say 200,000, let's just say around 250 or less, you almost have to command the top spot, because you don't have much volume, right? So sometimes you can be number 4, number 5, and that's not enough. Okay. So I've seen that in some markets. So your goal is to rank as big as possible, right? They got to rank as better. So just keep working on the SEO, and I mean, we can recommend all the stuff on your site, but what we're recommending is not going to move the needle. I mean, what we're talking about as far as what we're evaluating, I mean, that one's just more or less once you start driving traffic, how well can people potentially relate to what you do, so. But as far as rankings, you got to keep just hacking away at it. You got to reach for number one. That's objective one. Your next objective is to get up as high as possible. That's where your leads are going to be more consistent and more predictable, because they say that the number one ranked website for a performing keyword is going to command about 35% of traffic. The number 10 ranked keyword only is going to get about 2% of traffic. You see the big difference? 35 to 2%. That shows you the more you climb up, the better for you. So that's how you're going to get more traffic, is you got to have better rankings. So, great job on getting to page one. Now you just got to work up.
Awesome. And he says Athens is about 100K. So I think he's a pretty decent sized market.
Yeah, 100K is pretty small. So like I live in Wilmington. So North Carolina, we're about 100,000, 125. Yeah, you got to command that number one spot for a market that small. Because, because why? I don't know. It just has always worked that way. When you're in a big metropolitan, let's say you're in Atlanta, you could get away with being in the top 5 and generate decent traffic. But the smaller the market, you almost have to get that top 3, if not the number one spot. And so keep doing the SEO, keep running backlinks, citations, be active on social media, share content on social media, be consistent. If you can't be consistent, go hire your VA. Get them into the 3 lead per day training, have them implement that for you. At least now you're buying consistency because you have someone accountable for it now. You just got to just keep hacking away at it.
Okay, and just want to chime real quick on the city landing pages. Is there a certain number of city landing pages that should or should not be listed on the homepage? Is there such thing as listing too many? From my experience, I haven't seen that there is too many or too little. It's the only thing that might work against you, and this is more in the design perspective. If you're listing 30 pages in the sidebar, it's just going to run out the sidebar. So how you format it could be, that varies person to person. We have a lot of examples, but you have at least 10, 15 sidebar where you place them. That's fine. Yeah, I haven't seen a thing that's too many or too little of them.
Yeah. So me personally, I would say, dude, or I don't know if it's a lady. I almost said dude. Just create the pages of where you want to target. I see so many people, just kind of wing it and go after 50 cities because they just want to expand, which, if you can legitimately do deals in 50 those cities, definitely do it. You're just going to have to, but at the same time, you got to really support those pages if you want to rank every page. So it's kind of like this, guys. If I want to write, so if SEO is important to you, the more pages that you create, the more backlinks that you're going to have to do to get all those pages ranking. It's kind of like this. Like if you want to bulk up, you increase your calorie intake, right? That's a lot of your so there's that logic to it. So to me, I would just say, just create as minimal city pages as possible. Go after the areas that if you got to ask yourself, if I got a deal in this market or in this city, could I turn it around and get rid of it quickly? Right. So don't create 50 pages for the sake of just creating more pages. Like, be intentional with it, because the more pages that you create, the more backlinks that you're going to have to put into it to really kind of have each page be moving at a decent pace to rank well. Okay. So because the Carrot site, it can handle it. Shoot, you can create 1,000 pages if you want, but if you want to rank all 1,000 pages, you're going to have to level up on your SEO, meaning double up, tripling on your backlinks. Because you just can't build 5 backlinks and then expect those 5 backlinks to equally impact all 50 pages, right? Mm-hmm. So, it's kind of like this, guys. If you got a glass of water and you gave it to 50 people, again, this is a 12-ounce glass of water. If you give 12 ounces to 50 people, it's not like every person's going to get equally 12 ounces of water. Those 50 people have to split that 12 ounces. Okay. You give a 12 ounce to 6 people. Tell me who's going to get the most nourishment from the water. Right. So you see that analogy. So again, there's nothing wrong with like creating a bunch of city pages. Definitely do that, but also understand if you want each page to rank equally well, you're just going to have to pour a bunch of water into that using that analogy. So does that help?
Yeah, it comes down to kind of being a numbers game in some sense, for sure. David chimed in real quick. He is wondering, he wants to rank for smaller towns. Rank for smaller towns outside of Nashville. Should he write the weekly blog post for those towns, or continue using big city names like Nashville and all the titles?
For the blog posts,
or just what the strategy behind ranking for small towns outside of Nashville. So I'm guessing that's your 50K and below, maybe. Just how to rank for those city titles or for those areas.
So obviously, first one, you should have a city page for each of those areas. That's one. And if you want to create content, blog posts to support those city pages, what I would do is those blog posts, make sure that it's linking back to those city specific pages. So for an example, so let me see here. I'll use this as an example. Give me just a second.
Sure.
So let's say that I wanted to create, okay, so let's say I created a page for Springfield, which is north of Nashville. All right, so the first thing I would do is create a page for Nashville, right?
Go ahead and share your screen. If do you have something up?
Yeah.
Pop your screen sharing, and I'll get that up there.
All right, you guys see my screen? All right, sweet. Okay. So let's say I wanted to, so here's Nashville. I'm just using to use a map. So let's say, okay, I'm just making this easy. So let's say I wanted to go after Brentwood. So what I would do is, first of all, create a Brentwood city.
Still not showing yet, Adrian. We'll go back into StreamYard and then re-hit that button. There we go. Nice.
Right. There we go. All right.
There it is. Perfect.
All right. So so let's say that you want to target Brentwood. All right. So first of all, I would create a Brentwood city page. Okay. That's what I want ranking in Google, because I want what's ranking for someone who's going to take action now. All right. Blog post tends to be more educational. Okay. And those usually are probably going to be best suited to someone who maybe doesn't quite understand what to do now. I mean, they don't know if they're going to list, they're going to sell it themselves, or deal with an investor. They're kind of in the early stages. But so again, what I would do is first of all, create a city specific page for Brentwood. All right. And then if you want it for your weekly blog post, go into the Content Pro articles with Carrot. And then, if there's a bunch of foreclosures going on in Brentwood, I would go into the content articles, find some pre-foreclosure articles, put it on your website, and then utilize the override market settings and have that blog post be for Brentwood. And then I would go into that. So let me just do this. All right, let's see. All right, so I'm just going to use so let's say I created a city page, right? So for Brentwood. So now I'm going to go into, I actually did it for this one here. Wait a minute. No. That's, all right. Let me go into this Pittsburgh one. So anyways, so I'm going to go into posts, right? So let's say I created a city page for Brentwood already. All right. So now I'm going to go into, I did it right here. So remember my main focus city for this website is Pittsburgh, right? So, but what I did with this one is, all right. So in this one, I used the market override settings, right? You see right here, because I have a page for Mount Oliver. So I want to support that city specific page for Mount Oliver by leveraging this blog article. So I do that. And then right here, so what I would do is edit that and then make sure I link back within this blog post back to that city specific. So you see how it's supporting. So a blog post is a great way to support your city specific page. All right. So does that make sense? So yeah, I mean, that's the way I would do it. It's you know, it's a little bit tricky. I mean, well, it may not be tricky for you, but that's the way I would do it. I would create a city specific page for all the cities you want to target outside of Nashville. And then in your weekly blog post, create some articles just for those cities. And then make sure within the article, link back to the city specific page that you're targeting. Okay. Was that helpful?
Yeah, David just timed back in. Perfect. I'm on track. Thank you. All right, cool,
Sweet.
man. Good you're in the mix on that one. And I do have another question left, which this might be our last one unless there's any last minute burning questions. And then also just a quick preview. Next week, we have a video content expert coming on. Someone,
Oh yeah, I'm excited about that.
Third-party expert. This is one that Adrian wrangled up. So if you're ever exploring video content or how to do that, we have an expert coming on that one. So I'm kind of excited for that one.
Yeah, make sure you guys show up for that. This guy, the top investors in the country are paying him to fly out to their location to have this guy do their video marketing. So this guy is top notch. He's just not someone who does it in their own backyard. Top investors in the country are flying this guy into their city and creating content. So make sure you guys are not missing that call next
Tuesday.
week. Yep.
Yeah, next Tuesday. Awesome, exciting. So Cristobal is asking about a branding question. Just started to personalize their website. They're an agent. Haven't got any leads, so we could definitely dive in a little bit. Blogging and blogs don't have the green dot for SEO, so it could be the keyword thing could be off, but no worries there. They're wondering, and Cristobal, let me know if there's something a little more specific you want to dive into, but their branding name, if they're wondering if it's okay, Cristobal Jimenez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I would say, guys, the way that when it makes sense to brand your name is if you're setting, now this ain't the absolute answer, but
sure.
Remember, okay, so hopefully I can explain this well without confusing anybody. I personally believe that when you should be branding, obviously you're trying to position yourself as an expert. So Facebook is where you should be very active if you're branding, right? Branding is, so that's one. The way now, as far as now, branding on Facebook brings awareness, right? Because you're kind of throwing yourself in front of people, right? It's kind of like you found the busiest road in town and you're just putting yourself on that road and you're just saying, hey, I'm a realtor. So that's branding. Facebook makes sense to do that. When it comes to branding on your website, best practice of really branding heavy on your website is if I was sending a lot of mailers out, or I was, let's say as an agent, I'm putting myself on billboards or I'm putting myself on bus stops, where I'm putting my name on there, that's where your website should be. You should be branding your website too, because what's going to happen if I see a billboard where it says, Joaquin, Wilmington's voted Wilmington's best agent, and it has Joaquin's name. If I was interested, I would Google search his name because that's what was introduced, right? So that's where, and of course I want my website ranking for that brand, because people are going to be searching for you based of information that they found elsewhere, right? So, as an agent, every agent should be branding for sure, because what happens is now you're not dependent on your brokerage. So if you switch from Coldwell Bank to Keller Williams or vice versa, you're not dependent on that brand. You can always, I want to brand Adrian Nez as the lead generation expert, right? So it doesn't matter if I go, from the real estate world to something else, I'm the expert, right? It's not dependent on what I was doing over here or who I was with, so that's kind of way you want to look at it. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely okay. It's for sure okay. So strategy wise, yeah, anybody who's doing offline marketing, whether you're an agent or investor, your website should be branded for that. But if you're an agent and you really want to expose your brand, along with your website, you should be really active on Facebook because everybody's on Facebook. Again, that analogy, you found the busiest road in your town and you're simply you're standing on that road saying, hey, I'm an agent. So you're bringing awareness to you. Does that help?
Yeah, let me know if that helps out, Cristobal, and dive into what it means to kind of go into the branding aspect. And we got 2 last questions. Let's see here. This is from, I missed where this is coming from. But if I have 5 city landing pages, should I duplicate 5 times the blog post and tweak the contents and link back? So that's using the blog post to reflect the city landing pages.
Should I duplicate 5x the blog posts?
So using the content packs, duplicate each piece of content so the city is reflecting the city landing pages.
I wouldn't do that. Like, to me, because I'm going to kind of call you out a little bit. That to me, you're just advertising, right? Like for me, again, my goal for you guys is to be really good marketers. So that's where my perspective comes from, right? Okay. So with that said, I don't know. Like for me, that's just not very effective. Like, because what if those 5 blog posts just doesn't make sense for that city, right? So now it's probably likely it's going to make sense. So I'm not saying it won't, but again, you want to be the expert, right? So that's why, the blog post should make sense for that city. Kind of back what I said earlier. Does it make sense? Okay. So I totally get what you're saying. I mean, you're leveraging, you're kind of trying to work smart. So I get it. So I commend you for that. I love it. But being a good marketer takes work, takes thinking. So I wouldn't, to me, sit down on your computer, look at each blog post, look at the blog post and ask yourself, where does this blog post need to be, right? Does it make sense for this city? Or it could be a blog post that could make sense for any of them. You just have to choose which one doesn't make most sense, right? And make sure that each blog post is individualized for that instead of kind of duplicating. That's the way I would approach it. Hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, in my mind, that's the duplication factor, and then just being intentional with what you're putting out there.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with you working this way. I get it. I see where you're going with this. So there's nothing wrong with that. But to me, I just think to be successful in this business, you got to be a good marketer. I know I probably said that like 50 times already in this call, but you guys are always asking, I want to be the best, right? So tell me, I mean, who wants to be the best in their market? Everybody should be chiming what's our thing? Our B or, but everybody everybody in this call should say they want to be the best. The way you're going to be best is not taking shortcuts. Okay. And again, shortcuts are good. I'm not demonizing shortcuts. They're good. I love shortcuts. But if you really want to be the best, you got to be a good marketer and being very intentional. Start creating videos, don't just rely on the Content Pro articles that comes with the Carrot site. Leverage it, use it, better than nothing. But that'll get you by. But if you really want to crush it, you really want to stand out in your market, you got to create your own content. And the best way to do that is with your cell phone. So that's why hopefully you guys don't miss next week's call.
Awesome. And then our closing question, which already got a resource queued up. What is the best way to create more backlinks A common resource we often reference is using Haro,
Yep.
which is short for Help a Reporter Out. There we go. And I'll put this up in the. There we go. Here's the access to that link. This is going to walk you through how to get into Haro, kind of the next steps, what to have in queue. Really, Haro is a reference for you're an expert and there's a reporter or a situation where they need an expert opinion. So it's a quick reaction a little bit, but if you connect a reporter, they give you your 2 cents and a backlink. Oh man, your stuff takes off real quick in terms of the reach. It goes from a reputable source. So this is where I'd start with that. And then also, I think you've mentioned this. I found it to be a good quick tip to at least get local backlinks, Adrian, which is donating to local nonprofits or causes in the area in request to backlink. So that could be something like a PTA or something like that.
Yeah.
Setting aside $50 or $100. Hey, feel free to. Here's my donation. If you have an online or if you have an online listing service on the website, I appreciate my name and a backlink. That's another quick one to at least give back in your neighborhood and also get a backlink using that resource. So I think I'd start with those 2 resources, Haro, and then see what kind of local areas offer backlinks for a donation or just kind of that little backdoor as an opportunity.
Yeah. So here's the reason why. Here's a good thing too, guys. I'll be honest, that's the hard way, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the way that Haro is going to be easier to use is when you become a good expert, a good marketer, because now it's easy to craft that up, and people on the other side is going to see that it's quality content. Okay, because it's going to be very hard for you guys to use Haro if you guys are not working that muscle brain. Okay, so that's Haro is the hard way. If you want the easy, the easier way, I don't want to say it's easy, but just going into 3 lead per day training, we show you how to create backlinks the easier way, but Haro is probably the best way, right? So, but it's also the hardest. So that's why I always want to get you guys into being a good marketer, because now you can take advantage of best ways to do stuff, right? So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, 3 leads per day training, great resource that dives into backlinks as well. And then we'll finish with this question with Brooks, just because it was a good soft lead into next week's, which I could dive into that as well. Let's see here. What's the best place? Or Brooks does a lot of videos. Let's see if I can cue this up in the content, or I'll just read it. Brooks does a lot of videos. What's the best place to put them on my site? Don't always use the video transcription. Is there a page dedicated just to video, or is it something I would need to create?
That depends what the video is about. I mean, if you're going to educate and really break down stuff for people and what we do, how it works, or the process, that's probably a perfect video. That's probably a great blog post that your video can, so that'd be a great blog post. If it's a short 1 minute, 2 minute, you're asking for a direct sale, meaning, hey, Adrian here with Chief Real Estate Solutions. I'm here in Wilmington, North Carolina. If you're in a situation where you need to get rid of a house that just needs a ton of work, we buy those type properties. We'll buy it as is, cash. Reach out to us. Boom, right? Then that's probably a video would make sense to put on the city page. I'm not a fan of putting a website, or I'm not a fan of putting a video right in front of people, to be honest with you, because I've tested it over and over, and videos just are not watched. Because one, I think because people are at work and they can't watch a video. 2, I think some people just naturally think it's a picture, so they don't know to click on it, right? So test those, right? I mean, on top of your video, I always let people know, hey, to learn more about whatever the video is about, press play below, right? Let people know that it's a video, because what's simple to us, you'd be amazed how complicated or how easy for someone to overlook something like that. Okay, so it just depends, right? So I mean, if there's a video that you create, yeah, send it over to me. Send it over to support, and I can tell you, hey, this would fit on this page best. I would have to look at the video first. I mean, there's a lot of, as far as where to position it. Okay, so Hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, comes down to the whole thing, marketing and what's the intention of the content of where it's going. So good
Yep.
question.
Yeah,
And the
great
much,
question.
much bigger, much bigger question would be tune in next week to get a fuller breakdown of what that whole funnel is, because we got the pro, or one of the pros out there,
Yep.
jumping on the call next Tuesday with us. Awesome, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. The next Tuesday, video content with an expert on it. So I'm super excited for that. And if there's any questions that still come in, you can still pipe them in,
Yep.
and we'll happy to address them with the Carrot support team. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your week.